Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
And good fortune, everybody. Another Thursday. This is the Bitcoin Otter Show coming right at you from 97.7 FM KCYP, The City, out of McAllen, Texas. We are in the creative incubator here, the McAllen Creative Incubator, where Joe Martinez's radio station is. So we're going to have drums in the background. We might have some people yelling around. Thespians, I tell you. Thespians, actors, for those of you who don't know the term. Now, I'm going to have to tell you, I'm pretty much running off a script here, or off of the script. I'm not on a script. I don't have my notes here. All I have is this, and I'm going to show you and tell you why this is all I have. But I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to break some things down for you today that I might not have previously done. We're also going out on Facebook. We're going out on YouTube, both the Bitcoin Otter and the Christopher Ott Facebooks. Okay? Then we're going out on YouTube, the Bitcoin Otter Show, and we're going out on 97.7 Facebook and YouTube. Also, Radio Garden app, 97.7 FM, and we're also going on TuneIn Radio. We're going out on all those places. Also, I want you to know that I appreciate you watching live. This show, especially this show, I would like your participation. Now, if you can't participate, you're now listening to it after it already happened, I completely understand, and I still appreciate your viewership. So I'm pulling us up here. Excuse me, on Facebook. And who do we have here? We have, looks like Matt and Sue. Good to see everybody. I'm sure Dad's watching too with Sue, right? Hi, Dad. So what we're going to do today is a little bit different, okay? And there's a few things that played into this. And let me go over the list. One, my printer ink is pretty much gone. I have this in a different color than I usually do. Two, I believe I'm inspired today. Inspired not by just, another person, although another person was involved, but God himself. I was in a training today with many other people. I want to say there were probably 50 of us in training today. Some were what are called peer support members. They're there for their peers. They're there to help people out in their workplace. And then chaplains, of which I am one. So we had about 50 of us, and it was a great day. I mean, we were coming together, communicating, and basically showing, hey, this is how we do things. We can do things better. We can, help people out. How do we better help people out? We had the clinical psychologist. We had all kinds of people there with us today, and it was a fruitful day. Let's just put it that way. Now, what happened that I would go, completely without my notes today? Well, I'll tell you what. I don't need them today because I'm going to break some things down in a way that, one, will incorporate your cooperation if you so desire. Two, Corinne, good to see you. Two, it will allow you to see what it is that, brought me to start the Bitcoin Otter Show. I'll go over that again. Many of you know this story, but I'll go quickly and I'll go again for those who have not seen or heard this. Now, I'm not going to skip our economic barometer. So earlier, before the show, I saw gold at 2,300 and something. Doesn't really matter once we know 2,300 because it's moving pretty fast. Going up, going down, but mostly up. Bitcoin today earlier was going up. It was at 58, okay? But guys, we had a pretty good, 58,000 that is. We had a pretty good dip this week. And if you had the chance to buy the dip, great. If you didn't, I think there's going to be more dips. But I'll tell you what, it looks to me like the 56 to 57 area is strong support. Are we going to bust through that on the downside? I'm not sure. But if we do, I'm not a financial advisor. Again, no tie here, ladies and gents. I don't even have a Ron Burgundy mustache to sport. I don't have any of that stuff. So I'm not going to tell you what to buy and what to sell. But I will tell you that if it goes below that again, I'm probably going to dip in a little bit to, just to try my hand, if you will, at buying the dip. So some other things, some other favorite coins are doing well. Doing well is relative in crypto. What I mean is, if you like a project, you could pretty much be doing well monetarily if it goes up. You can also be doing well if you're adding to your bag as it goes down. So if you really do believe it's going to stick around, if you really do believe it's going to be profitable, you may just want to buy more when the price is down. That's the way I do it. I don't like to pay too much, but at the same time, I'm ready for my favorite coins, which of course are Bitcoin, Theta. Okay. I'm crazy for Theta, and it's, economical coin, the economy coin, the currency on the blockchain, the Theta blockchain, which is T-Fuel. Okay. So right now T-Fuel is, it was below 10 cents. So if you wanted to get in on that, be my guest. If you want to know why, hit me up on bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, and I'll give you a rundown of why I'll give you videos. I'll give you a lot of stuff, why I love Theta. It's, to me, it's something that, that's going to be, to use a term, ubiquitous. It's going to be everywhere because they have patents. So others might try to do what they do, but these people have the proprietary right to do what they're going to do. What are they going to do? Well, they're in AI right now. So they started yesterday an application that is an AI suite. Okay, so it's Theta Edge Cloud AI. Now, how does that, get me so excited? Well, I can have an Edge Cloud node. I can have what's called an Edge node. In fact, I have one. I don't personally run it, but I give the ability of someone who is running Edge nodes, I give them the ability to use my account to stake on their account. Now, I never lose my autonomy. I never lose my keys. I never lose my custody. I have custody of my T-Fuel. So when I stake the T-Fuel to these nodes, I'm making 7% T-Fuel. That is pretty good, right? Now, it's only 10 cents per T-Fuel right now, but hey, that means you can buy more. 1, 2, once it goes up, and I believe it's going to go up, now you're making residual income on your T-Fuel. So 7% is much better than what a bank is going to give you on your Federal Reserve notes. And then I believe personally that it's quite possible that T-Fuel will eclipse $1. Sometimes some people believe that it's going to do that in 2024. I don't know. I can prognosticate. Eileen, good to see you. Mingo, good to see you. So let me go over again why it is I'm doing what I'm doing today. And it starts with why it is I'm doing, period, this. Why am I doing this? Why am I on your feed? Why am I on the radio? Why am I on YouTube, Facebook, and all those other places we go out on? This is why. I believe that I have been called to show people some of the things that I've learned. And crypto is just a bit of it. You all know that if you really want to know about crypto, you could go on YouTube and just hammer down on the videos that get much more technical than mine do if you want to learn in depth. Why am I doing this? I am doing this because I have prepared myself and my family to the best of my ability to withstand crashes, bumps, bruises, and disasters. Okay. Well, then why would I do that? Because I think it's coming. I really do, ladies and gents. So what do I do? What have I done? Well, I don't have a ton of assets, but what I've done is placed what little I do have in a position to parallel the U.S. economy. As the U.S. economy goes off the cliff, which I think is likely, possibly here in 2024, I think it might even be likely in 2024. Okay, that our Federal Reserve note really goes in the crapper. So if the banks go in the crapper, the Federal Reserve note, you know it as the US dollar, goes in the crapper. What would be good to have? Well, no one land. If you have enough money, you buy land because you're going to defend it with your life. I'm sure. I know I will. What I have, I'm still got a mortgage, but once everything goes down, you think they're going to be going door to door. And if they do, they're going to have a lot of casualties. Now, another thing you might want to do is get yourself some food. Stock up on food, get that emergency food going, or just go to your local store and buy up your staples, your rice, your beans, canned goods. Spam is maybe not the best thing to eat on a regular day, a good day, but you can get that and it will stay for a while. So, Nicole, good to see you. John Fogel, he's on. Good to see you, John. So, these are the things that I believe other people need to know. So why does that motivate me? Well, because I don't want to have this information and not tell friends. Now, I know most of you. The vast majority of my, I think, 749 Facebook friends, I know personally. Thankfully, I do. I know you, and you know me. So that allows me some freedom here on Facebook, because while their algorithms are working against us to tell you the truth, and there's certain things I can't tell you about, let's say COVID. I can't tell you the truth about how to cure COVID. I can't tell you the truth about what the pharmaceutical companies have packaged into their so-called cures, right? I can't tell you that truth on Facebook, because Facebook is part of the enemy's outreach, the enemy's programming. It's just, that's reality. However, Facebook, I know there's a lot of people out there that have Facebook, a lot of my friends, literally. Again, most of the people, vast majority, you know me. So I am here in a role, R-O-L-E, right? What is that role? Now, as you know me, you know I am a Christian. I'm a born-again believer in Jesus. I believe the Bible is right. In fact, I believe it doesn't have any mistakes in it. We can argue about this if you want. That's not a problem. BitcoinOtter.media@gmail.com. And I'll tell you why I believe the way I do, and you can tell me the way you believe and why it might be different. No argument, no craziness, no, how would you say, no fisticuffs, that's for sure, because we don't need to. We're friends, right? Anyway, so I believe I am in the role of a watchman. If you want to learn about what the role of a watchman is, biblically, you go to Ezekiel 33, okay? Yes, I'm going to read a little bit to you about this, but the fact of the matter is I'm not going to break this into a sermon, if you will. I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I think you guys will relate. Why do I think that? Because, well, you're watching, and we have some commonality here. Now, in Ezekiel 33, okay? And we're going to start with verse 6. So this is God speaking to Ezekiel. So Ezekiel was one of his prophets, okay? And Ezekiel was placed in the role of watchman. Now, in the old days, biblically speaking, and probably even after, the Bible, the books of the Bible were written, they would have what are called a watchman, who would be on a wall, and this watchman would look out into the city or the wilderness or wherever it was that was outside the walls of the castle or the keep or the city itself. So as he watched out, he would look for danger, oncoming enemies, oncoming armies, or even, friendly caravans that were coming in. He would let them know, hey, so-and-so's caravan's coming in under the flag of this or that, right? Now, this watchman's responsibility was to let the people know if danger was coming. This is the role that God gave to Ezekiel, and I believe it's the role he gave to me too. And let me explain that to you. So Ezekiel 33:6 says, "But if the watchman sees the sword coming," now the sword coming means God's wrath, because God has anger against cities and against nations that have claimed to know him and then just mess everything up, then just screw the pooch and just, sinful, crazy things like, killing babies, things like that. It really pisses God off, okay? It pisses him off to the point where he has to, by his own nature, punish that bad action, punish those bad actors, punish that nation or city, okay? His justice has to come, because if we don't have justice, we have nothing. We have lost hope, because if there's no justice, then, well, we're living in a place that won't allow us to see wrongs righted. God doesn't live in that type of environment. We might think the world is like that, but we only have a vision or an operational view of this world from this side, not from heaven's side. That's just the way it is. That's the way the Bible teaches us. So, if the watchman sees the sword coming, that's God's wrath. Perhaps it could be in the form of an enemy. Perhaps it could be in the form of nature, a storm, who knows? And does not blow the trumpet, so that the people are not warned, and the sword comes and takes any one of them, the person is taken away in his iniquity. And I'll explain this in a second. But his blood I will require at the watchman's hand. So it says that the person will be taken away in his iniquity and his sin, because that's one of the people that were, doing whatever it was. The piss got off. What was that person doing? I don't know. We have a list of sins. I'm not here to list them, but things that God has told us throughout history that are wrong and he doesn't like. So what does it mean that he was taken away in his iniquity? Well, God will take us away someday, but he will not fail. He will not fail to let us know that there's a chance to be close to him, that there's a chance to be saved from hell. Our rightful destiny, our rightful place of abode, if you will, because of all the bad and evil things we've done in our life. That's the way it is, ladies and gents. We are people, we're human, and we sin day and night. Or if we don't sin day and night, then we have the nature of a sinner back from Adam's bloodline, because we're all the same race. There's no such thing as different races of humans. We are the human race. Okay, this whole racism thing is just a ploy set up by our enemy to divide us, like many other things. However, why we cannot allow a watchman to fail to blow the trumpet is because we would then be taken away in iniquity. What does that mean? That means that we would not have that last chance. We would not have the last opportunity to ask God to forgive us, to repent of what it is that we were doing. So a lot of people won't repent, and they really don't care two ways, one way or the other. But at least they would have that chance if the watchman did his job. I don't want to be caught not doing my job. That's why we're here today, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we're here today. So the next verse says, so you, son of man, that's talking to Ezekiel, I have made a watchman for the house of Israel. Whenever you hear a word from my mouth, you shall give them a warning from me. If I say to the wicked, O wicked one, you shall surely die. You shall not speak to warn the wicked to turn from his way. That wicked person shall die in his iniquity. So if Ezekiel doesn't tell that person what God says, then that person's going to die without having the chance of coming to God and getting forgiveness and going to heaven. But his blood I will require at your hand, Ezekiel. If you warn the wicked to turn from his way, and he still doesn't turn from his way, that person's going to die in his sins, but you will be delivered in your soul, because he at least did what God wanted him to do. He warned him. He told him. So, I have taken this, ladies and gentlemen, and you might not agree with me, and that's fine. I have taken this as what God has given me as a role, as a job, if you will. Why do I think this? Because I can't stay away from this stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if my wife is watching or not. Vic says hi. Hey, Vic. Vic was with us today. He was in that training today. So the role that I believe God put on me was one of a watchman. So if I don't do this, I am remiss. I am failing to carry out the job that God gave for me. Now, do I believe that Bitcoin has a role in this? Well, it's not Bitcoin per se that is the tool that God used to wake me up, but it's a tool that I found to help guard against financial ruin. This is me speaking. I'm not telling you to buy Bitcoin. I'm just telling you that I have found it valuable. I have found it sturdy. I have found it reliable, and I have found it better than the US dollar. Okay? We live in the United States, ladies and gentlemen. We have things coming to us. We may have a measure of justice coming our way, but biblically speaking, we can ask for God to stay his hand of justice, and that's what I do. I have to be honest, I forget some days, but nearly every single day I pray that God will stay his hand of justice against our nation and against us, myself included. I'm an American. I'm a patriot. I love my country, but I love God more. So I ask him, please spare us what we deserve. Wait a minute, Otter, you're saying America deserves to be destroyed? I don't know about destroyed, but look at the things that we've been doing, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the amount of child abuse that's out there in our nation. Look at the fact that we have people out there praising a product of our justice system. It's called Roe versus Wade. It was a scam. It was a sham. They used that young woman, right? They used her. Her story is amazing. If only the mainstream media would allow it to be told, but they can't. They won't, because they are all about propaganda. So there's a court ruling out there that is celebrated by people who believe they are doing the right thing. I sincerely don't believe that the vast majority of people who are up for baby killing really believe what it is that they're doing. I can't. I refuse to believe that they think that is a righteous thing. I just think that they've been fooled into thinking it is what it is, which the media, let me say this, there's a cloak put upon abortion, and the media is greatly guilty of this. It goes under the cloak of freedom. It says that you are free to do this because it's your body, if you're a woman, but they never say that there are two bodies there. There's two bodies there. Now, if you want to say you're autonomous to your body, I can wholeheartedly agree with you. That's a God-given fact. He gave you your body, and he gave you a choice of what to do with your body, right? Ladies, it's your body. You do with it as you will. But just know that there are things that we're not supposed to do with our bodies, be us men or women. Oh, and there's only two genders. My book. You can believe what you want to believe. This is a free nation. God gave us free will, and he guards it jealously. He loves and values us, but he loves and values the free will that he gave us. How do I know that he loves a free will? Because he won't impede on it. What do you think sin is all about? If he wanted to fix us to be programmed robots and not sin, you don't think he could do it? Yes. Let me use a term. Hell yes. Literally. Okay? He could just, fix us that way, but then we wouldn't be human. We'd be something else. So he gives us autonomy, and we can kill all the babies we want. However, justice must be served. If justice didn't have to be served, he wouldn't have sent his son to sit or to stand or to be crucified in our place. Simple thing. And I said I wasn't gonna preach here, but I want to let you know again. I want to let you know why I do what I do. I love what I do. I truly enjoy it, right? And one of my cohorts, one of my esteemed chaplains, okay, he brought me back to this, brought me back to the definition of why it is I run what I run, this Bitcoin Otter show and this business. Yeah, we're a nonprofit, right? A 508c1a. Yeah, nonprofit, Bitcoin Otter, PMA, Private Membership Association. So I run this not for me, but I run it for the people that I want to help. In the case of the business, it's me helping you buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrency if you want to. I'm not going to force you. And I'll show you how to do it safely, securely, so you can store what I believe to be a safer option than Bitcoin, that is. I don't know about the other coins, right? So I believe Bitcoin is a safer option than the US dollar. Why? Because I believe our bank system is going down. Yes, I do. I'm not trying to scare you. That's not my point. My point is, I want you to be prepared, not scared. Be prepared. And that mantra came from the Economic Ninja. The Economic Ninja is a great show. He's on YouTube. He's on others, but he's on YouTube. That's where you find him easiest. So the Economic Ninja says, don't be scared, be prepared. And I like to live that out. That's why I prepare with food, right? I prepare with ways of getting around this crash that we got coming. Sue says, can we deport the corrupted politicians and send them to the nations who are emptying their prisons and sending them here? Oh, I believe we're going to do better than that, Sue. I believe we're going to do better than deporting these politicians. I believe, this is me personally, okay, and I know some of you out there, Matt, if you're still on, I know you believe this too. I believe there's going to come a time of justice for these people. I believe, and it's not just the heavenly justice. This is a here and now justice. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, Sue. I know. I got other friends that can barely wait. But I believe that we are truly in a war. And I want to be a little more specific about that war. What portion of the war are we in? Okay, well, we were infiltrated long, long ago. In fact, in 1982, a video came out. And this video was an interview of a guy named Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri Bezmenov. You can find this on YouTube. Yuri Bezmenov, okay, told us, because he was a former KGB agent, how the U.S. was being infiltrated by the Soviet Union. We were being infiltrated primarily through our educational institutions, okay? We were then also being infiltrated in our politics via politicians, of course, those evil breed. Then we are also being infiltrated in our banking system, okay? Great interview from a guy who knows. Now, that started long ago, even before Yuri in 82 told us this. How do I know? Because there was a great guy. I call him St. Joseph of Wisconsin. Well, who the heck was that, Otter? Justice is coming, says Matt. You better believe it's coming. So St. Joseph of Wisconsin is who I call Senator Joseph McCarthy. Otter, wasn't he the author of McCarthyism? Didn't we even learn in high school that McCarthyism is the wrong way to go? That, we can't just question on everybody on their loyalty to the United States and whether or not they might be a communist? Well, I believe we ought to do just that. If you purport to serve the United States of America, especially if you're a politician, you better be loyal to the United States. And if you are a communist, you cannot be loyal to the United States, because if you're a communist, you're only loyal to Satan. These are my words. I know. I'm throwing it out. I know. But the fact of the matter is, communism is akin to Marxism. And Karl Marx was a Satanist. How do I know? Well, when you dedicate your book to Lucifer, it kind of lets the cat out of the bag, everybody. Yeah. Lucifer was the dedication page. That's who he was. That's who Marx dedicated. I can't remember the title of his books. The book, the seminal book on Marxism, right? I can't remember it, and I think that's a good thing. But the fact of the matter is, Joe McCarthy was telling everybody, hey, we have communists in our halls of government, and people wouldn't believe him. In fact, his name is a byword now in Washingtonian circles, because he went to chase down the communists. Well, yeah, he was a patriot. That's our job. Okay, you want to have a communist party, you have it, but it should have no place in our system of governance at all. But we got commies running all around Washington, D.C. Now, what is this justice, Sue? I went a little bit astray, I know. What will this justice look like? I believe this justice will come in the form of military tribunals. Why military? Well, according to the Insurrection Act, and you can please look this up, Insurrection Act of the United States. You'll see it is formally codified or codified, however you want to term that, because it is a legal document. It is auspiciously placed in the canon of legal work that we call laws. United States law, the penal code, right? Well, This Insurrection Act gives a pretty clear description of what happens when the three branches of government fail. We have our legislative branch, our judicial branch, and our executive branch, right? And oh, have they failed. Oh, have they failed abysmally, all three of them. They have failed to give us the service that we as American citizens deserve. So what happens when these three branches fail? Well, the onus of governance of this great country, the United States, falls upon the military. Yes. Don't believe me, ladies and gents. Do not believe me. Look this up. The Insurrection Act states this clearly, that the onus of governance falls upon the military when the other three become unoperational. They're just they just don't work. They're inoperational. They don't work. They're not serving the purpose for which they were designed. In fact, they're serving the purpose of our enemy. Have you ever looked at Congress? Have you looked at the Senate lately? Have you looked at these bills that they're passing? Have you looked at the things that they've done to help destroy our country? I have. I certainly have. I think I covered this a couple weeks ago. And a lot of people were very happy at the first part of the sentence. This first part of the sentence was, our politicians have earmarked $300 million for the Border Patrol. Yay! Isn't that great? $300 million for the Border Patrol. Well, hold your horses. It's the Ukrainian Border Patrol that they earmarked $300 million American dollars for. $300 million of your tax dollars going to the Ukrainian Border Patrol. Yeah, they did that. Robert, how are you doing, Robert? I was just talking, Robert, about a guy that inspired me to go back to my roots, so to speak. You used God's word. I won't say that it wasn't from God, and I'm not gonna, put you on a pedestal, but you do deserve recognition, sir. Robert is also a chaplain, great friend and brother of mine, and he basically pointed me in the direction that I should have been looking in the first place, which was the portion of God's word that sketches out in a matter of detail, a fine matter of detail, what it is to be a watchman. Now, I've often wondered, and I know I'm not a priest, I know I'm not a pastor of the sort that would have a church, or the sort that would serve for the Catholic Church or anything like that. I know that's not me. How do I know that? Because I haven't been called. I've not felt any great drive towards that. But what I have been called to do is what I'm doing right now. I have been called to show you all that we have a danger coming our way. We have a hand of justice coming our way. And I fear, yes, there's a fear out there. And yes, I have been told and have read that do not fear. The only thing I fear is God. Let me put it that way. I'm not afraid of what comes my way. I'm really not. I'm prepared to go with God. I've made my peace with him. He has generously, much more generously than I deserve, supplied a Savior for me. And I've taken the faith that he's given me and believed in that Savior, Jesus. So I'm not afraid of that. In fact, even if it comes down physically speaking, I'm more than willing to die in a pile of brass, defending my family and my country. That's fine. I'm ready. I'm not scared of that. I fear God. And I fear that what we've done has merited his justice, which is a fearful thing. Right? So my prayer is that he would stay his hand of justice. And we have biblical accounts of him doing just that, because his people have repented and his people have kneeled and his people have said that they confess and repent. So I would like to do that. But where I'm going with this is here. I have to tell you about these dangers because I was called to do so. I was literally called. So, I mean, you might think, oh, Otter, you're a conspiracy theorist. What does that have to do with being a watchman? Well, a conspiracy theorist is a tag. It's a word. It's a moniker And if you don't remember, I've said this a few times, but if you don't remember where that moniker came from, it comes from the usual suspects, the enemies of our country, which have hijacked our agencies. So there's a 3-letter agency out there that believes, and in fact, the head of that agency at one point said that when the American people, let me put it this way, I want to, paraphrase him. When the American people believe everything that we've told them to believe, our job has been done. Another way of saying it, when everything the American people believe is a lie, our job is done. Yeah. That was from a 3-letter agency here in the United States. And I want to say, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was actually the head of it. He was the head of this agency for a time period. So the fact of the matter is, I see things coming not because I'm smarter than other people. I see things coming our way not because I have, extra sensory perception. I don't have any of that other than what God's given me here in his word. And it's my calling. It's my calling, ladies and gentlemen. So I have to stay true to that. You may have had a calling of your own. You may be in that niche, if you will, or niche, however you want to tomato it, potato it. You may be in that perfect slot that God gave you, who he apportioned that to you. You may and you may not be at that place. But I think that whether you are or you are not, you'll know it. Because even if we're in danger, even if we're in dire straits, even if we're strapped in whatever bad position we're in, we are still with the knowledge that we're doing what we were designed to do, destined to do, called to do. So when I say that I'm doing this show in the spirit of my calling, I really mean that. I truly mean that. I mean, I truly believe that our country is in danger. Let me even go a little further. I did some reading today. It was on Zero Hedge that the Israelis have bombed just on the edge of Damascus. Damascus is the capital of Syria. Okay? Why is this important? I'll tell you why this is important. There are only a few things left, speaking in biblical prophecy terms. There are only a few things left, okay, before the actual end times arrive and the return of Christ is upon us. Well, most say, well, yeah, the return of Christ is great. And it is great. It's glorious. It will be. But the fact of the matter is that means that the Antichrist has arrived. Because Jesus, when he comes back, he's not coming back the same way he was here first. He's coming back to really mop up. Okay? The Antichrist, if this is happening, this Damascus attack actually exacerbates and grows to an obliteration of Damascus, it will be a fulfillment of prophecy. Because Damascus is, historically speaking, the oldest continuously inhabited city in the world. To our way of knowing, to our dispensation, if you will. We're talking about after the flood and so forth. Damascus has been populated for thousands of years, okay? Continuously. No other city on the earth has had that historical precedence, that historical occupancy, if you will. So the Bible tells us many different things will be harbingers, if you will, prophecies fulfilled. If these things occur, well then, have your eyes open. Check it out. So while I don't want us to be scared, because it's going to happen regardless, I want us to know that these are things we can look to. What's another one? Well, another one is when the Jews in Jerusalem begin to open up their new temple, and when they kill 2 red heifers, which they have already gone back in the genes and the lines and all that. They have these heifers ready to sacrifice. So when that happens, it's another one of the very few. Okay, these are 2 of the very few prophecies that remain to be fulfilled before the Antichrist comes, the tribulation comes, and Jesus' second coming, and he's not going to be happy with them. He's not going to be happy with those people who have followed the Antichrist. I'll tell you that right now. But again, I don't want to scare people. I'm not out to fearmonger in any way. I'm just telling you that these are the types of things that are going on, and you would expect that he would call people to be watchmen in this time. So I am definitely not alone in this. There are people of much greater outreach, much greater influence. And yeah, they're all labeled as kooks. They're labeled as conspiracy theorists, right? I don't know if you know this. You may not know this. Did you know that Alex Jones called 9/11? He called 9/11 in detail, all the way up to and including the day before. Ladies and gents, don't believe me. This is on YouTube, okay? Alex Jones called 9/11, okay? And he even said who they would blame. He said they were going to blame Osama bin Laden. Ladies and gents, these things don't happen in a vacuum. God will not leave us without forewarning. First and foremost, in the Bible. He's shown us. And we can escape all that. We really can. How? Well, we take the gift of his son, right? How do we escape hell? Well, becoming Jesus' disciple, believing on him, believing on his name. The Bible says there's only one name, gave only one name, Jesus Christ, right? The Christ. Yes, that name is different in different languages, Emmanuel and all that. Yeah. Jesus, great. But it's that person. It's his name above all other names and the only name that we can be saved by. Now, again, I don't want to preach. I'm not saying that we are, Johnny, good to see you, Johnny, that we are changing into an evangelistic mission. No, I'm not an evangelist, although we all have, to one degree or another, the responsibility to share. If we have the good news, share it. Okay? That's part of the armor of God, right? We shod our feet with the good news of the gospel. So we walk around, and as we walk around, people need to know, hey, this is who I believe in, and this is why. However, I wasn't called to be an evangelist of the Billy Graham sort. I'm an evangelist, just telling people what I believe. But again, as I'm coming back to the first full circle of what I started today, I am here to be a watchman, to tell you all that this time is going rapidly, both here and now. After we started shortly after 6 o'clock, and now it's almost 7 o'clock. This has been going on real fast. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank the interns that I have helping me out, figuring out the snafus that we're going on today, right? So we have Mark and Daniel here, students of Joe, the owner of the station, 97.7 KCYP, the city, out of McAllen, Texas. They're students of Joe Martinez. I would love for all of you someday to meet him. He's a great guy. He also has this station as a nonprofit. He teaches kids, teaches young people how to run a radio station, how to edit video, how to create quality audio and video products. So he gave me the opportunity a couple years ago. And I do believe that, much like my friend Robert, who inspired me today and was a worthy, Robert, you are a worthy voice for God in my ear. And you were that today for sure. So Joe was a worthy servant of God when he said, hey, you want to have a radio show? I got a radio station. And I said, yes, I jumped at it. I think I took a little bit to think about it, but not much. Because I think this is just an offshoot of what it is that God has in store for me and you. You also have a calling. It might not be the same as mine, but the fact of the matter is you have a calling. God has you here for a purpose. You're watching this for a purpose. You're watching this message for a purpose. God has ordained greatness for you. He will do great things in your life. Beyond measure, beyond what we can imagine. He will do great things in your life through you if you just allow him to do it. Will you? Oh, I hope so. I pray that you do. It's not easy. He never promised that it would be easy. The road is, as he would say, Jesus says it's a straight and narrow, but wow, it can be rocky sometimes. How do I know it? Because he went through it. He went through it for you. He went through it for me. Okay? And he took the hardest route that ever could be taken. And our route, and I will speak for myself, my route has been much easier than his. Will we have challenges? Heck yeah, we will have challenges. Will we perhaps have the ultimate challenge? What is the ultimate challenge? The ultimate challenge is, will I denounce Jesus Christ? And I pray every day that I will never do that. No matter what kind of pain in the body I am pressed to. Sue says, I heard about the terrible flooding in Southeast Texas. Omar, how you doing? I saw you earlier today, Omar. I saw you, Nolana and 29th. Good to see you, Omar. So Sue says, terrible flooding in Southeast Texas. I'm sorry, I am remiss. I remember the terrible flooding in Dubai where they were doing all this cloud seeding, okay? Dubai got its greatest flood in centuries. Well, Dubai is a new city, but that area got its greatest flood in centuries because they were messing around with the clouds, just like yeah, I know I'm a conspiracy theorist. Just like the, somebody throw it up there real quick. We have the chemtrails. Yeah, just like those. Those are up there for no good reason. And they're not doing us any good. I'll tell you that much. But Southeast Texas, I don't know. I don't know, Sue. But thank you for throwing that in there. Wink, wink. Now, what I would like to do is, before we go off air, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for listening. All of you who are listening to this at a later date, a later time, I thank you for doing that. This show is not just for those of us that can make it live. It's for those of us who care to listen at your leisure, if you will. As Higgins from Magnum PI used to say, at your leisure, right? So if you're listening to this at any moment in time, I thank you for listening. You've come a long way through 50-some minutes already. Thank you very much. I appreciate you holding on, hanging on for this episode, which is a recap of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I appreciate your communications in here. I appreciate the fact that you're listening. Sue's given up okfoxweather.com. So check out Sue's link if you want to see about that southeast flooding, Southeast Texas flooding. I'll have to check that out afterward. And I'll give you guys a little report on that. But certainly not here in the valley. We're bone dry right now and hot. But still not as hot as we usually are in April turning into May. It's May 2. And I think we're only in like the 90s. I think it was like 90s today. 90s, something, low 90s. But it's not as bad as it usually is at this time. So maybe it is some weather modification. Not sure. But I'll tell you what modification I like. I like the modification that God did in my life. And I can't stop talking about it. Fact of the matter is, he did me right because, well, I wasn't going in a good direction. However, I want a good direction for all of you. So if you want to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, again, I go over a lot of different things on this show. But what I really want everyone to have is peace, right? How can I help you with that? I can help you by helping you prepare, okay? Be prepared, not scared. So do I think we're going to have some food shortages? We may. I don't know. I don't have a lot of evidence. Yeah, they're burning down food processing plants, I know, but we still have food on the shelves right now. Does that mean it's going to be here tomorrow or the next week or next month? No, it doesn't. But what I would like you to do is think about preparing. I'm not commanding anything. That's not my place. I'm just saying, hey, think about it. And if you want a few tips, if you want a few pointers on how you might prepare yourself and your family for financial difficulties, for a bank crash, or if one of these days we wake up and wow, none of us can access our banks. None of us can access the money that we have in our banks. It's possible. If banks fail, if banks go down, they're going to take our money. They consider it theirs anyway. It's already been placed in the small print when you open up a bank account. Don't believe me? Check it out. So the fact of the matter is we have some things coming that might be bad, but I want to leave you on a happy note. Just for the same reason that Matt and I believe that justice will be served via many different avenues, but in one way or one method will be the tribunals of the military, because we believe that due to the Insurrection Act, the military has control of this situation. However, the bad guys are not going to go away easy. They're not. So we may have some very difficult times coming up, and I want everybody to Louis, I'm loving the Otter's a real origin story. All right, thanks, man. Awesome. I'm glad you are. So I just want everybody to know that good times, they are a-coming. In my belief, I really do believe. I think that once our ship is righted, once we're on the way again, we're going to see things that we never thought were possible in the realm of freedom. I think our children will have a brighter future than we have, or we had, right? Or they're going to go through a bumping economy. I think manufacturing's coming back to this country, ladies and gentlemen. I think our young people are going to have great futures if they just want to work. They're going to have plenty of that, and they're going to have it in abundance. I think our economy is going to boom. I think our oil production is going to rise. I think the industry will be brought back. I think all these things, and I have reasons for this. If you want to know the hardcore and down, to the nitty gritty, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll point you in the right direction, or at least in the direction that I think you will find all this stuff. Now, I'm going to sign off from 97.7 KCYP The City, Facebook, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, and Radio Garden. But I want to sign off with a blessing. I want to bless all of you that have listened. I want to bless all of you that have commented. I want to bless all of you that have the opportunity to condition yourself to see things coming, to prepare for those things, and make a better survivability and financially. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about. Yeah, you could buy your guns, which I definitely do believe you should have. One of the precious metals is lead in the form of a cartridge, right? So I believe you ought to do all those things. But our fate, our destiny is in God's hands, and fear not. Fear not. He's told us that so many times in the Bible. Robert backed that up for me today. We're not supposed to be afraid. We're not supposed to be scared. We're supposed to be prepared. And part of being prepared is helping your neighbor prepare. That's why I do what I do. I consider you all my neighbors and my friends, my brothers and sisters. So, in closing, I want to ask God to bless all of the viewers, all of the listeners, be it now or be it in the future. If you're listening to this tonight, a day or two ahead of time, doesn't matter. Time is nothing to God. He created it. He can move it around. He's in the future. He's in the past. The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So, a blessing to all of you. I thank God for you. May you have a great day, a blessed day. Thank you very much. And the Otter is signing out. God bless and good night.
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
On 97.7 FM, The City.